Here, I can bring it actually back up to my other map. If you look, the routes taken on the East Coast and on the West Coast here, these are the main, we'll call them highways. They're not fully developed at this time, but these are the main pathways. Well, the interior of the peninsula is extreme, like rubber plantation, very, very tough brush to go through. So basically, these like dirt roads and everything, these bicycles were perfect to go over. And they estimated, I think Soichi estimated there was more than 100,000 bicycles on hand. So the Japanese,
Exactly.
yeah, they just came and liberated the bicycles, as they said. Yeah, they
Literally.
actually, the wording is funny because
But just speaking about our dear friend Suji Masanobu, he had one thing to say about this bicycle blitzkrieg, as it got called. He says, even the long-legged Englishmen could not escape our bicycles. This is the reason they were continually driven off the roads into the jungle, where with their retreat cut off, they were forced to surrender.
yep. And
And
he,
just, do you mind if I just take over Sherry for like literally 20 seconds?
oh, yeah, here, I have to press the button. Go.
So I just found these images, and this is literally like the bicycle blitzkrieg in action.
There exists footage in color, by the way, a lot of it too.
Ah, okay. But you can see here, right? Like literally with the supplies on their cycles loaded. It's really an underrated aspect of what they were doing. And it, it was common for the Japanese reconnaissance troops on their bicycles to actually be intermingled with the rear guards of the British Indian Army as it was retreating.
Yeah, yeah,
That is
because they
the
overtook
that
them
is
right away. Yeah.
Yeah. And one funny thing is this guys rode the bicycle so hard that the rubber around the wheels were pretty much worn out.
Yep.
And they would continue to ride, like, ride with
On
it.
the metal spring
So
frame, yeah.
yeah, it would create a noise that actually some allied units, the British and Indian units were
They thought it
thinking
was
it's
tanks,
tanks
yeah.
approaching.
Yeah. Because
It's,
it's like 100 bicycles, yeah.
it's actually like kind of reminds me of like the siren being fitted on the Stuka
On
to
the
create
Stuka,
that,
yeah.
yeah, that demoralizing effect.
Yeah, psychological warfare. It
Yeah,
was it's very
it's very.
impressive. And like you said, they could carry 3 times the amount of supplies. They could go, I don't know how much more distance on a bicycle. Like anyone can imagine, it's much easier to pedal a bicycle than it is to run for your life. And every single time they would overtake the Allied positions, because the Allies are running on these main roads, and you know where the Allies are going to be because there's only a few roads. The Allies have only two options: fight and basically be captured, or run into this dense brush where you don't know where you're going and you're just going to get stuck there while the enemy goes further and further ahead. So it's very impressive, and it does earn the name the Bicycle Blitzkrieg, as it was called. And of course, Yamashita being a very studious student of Blitzkrieg tactics, he didn't just use the bicycles, he employed everything available to him. He used bomber aircraft as mobile artillery because obviously artillery in Malaya would not be very easy. It's you only have a few roads. You can't really bring heavy artillery into most places. It's quite difficult. And so to replace traditional artillery, you'd be using aircraft. And engagements would typically begin with bombing raids on Allied roadblocks and other defensive positions, followed by tanks, and then the bicycle infantry would come in to overwhelm the defenders. As the defenders retreated to more defensible positions, the infantry on the bicycles would just continue to keep going, so they would never let up. Obviously, it's very hard to establish a new defensive line when you're just continuously running for your life. It's very impressive. And I have a quote here from one Colonel Alfred Harrison of the 11th Indian Division, who said of this fight, fatigue had stretched the men's mind to the limit and the moral ascendancy, which the Japanese achieved in these few weeks, including a psychic side. The troops were beginning to attribute almost supernatural powers to the Japanese. Now, this is something I've actually talked about in multiple podcasts with friends of mine. At the very beginning of the war, there was these racist attitudes towards the Japanese by Westerners, like the Americans, Canadians, British, and such. And it was that the Japanese were far-sighted, couldn't fly well, couldn't make good things. Like their technology was all just rip-offs, all sorts of
I
racial
think,
bullshit.
yeah, I think it is like I think the Western world was really taken aback with the scale and successful execution of how we see Japan expanding its reach in the South Pacific areas just after Pearl Harbor,
Yeah.
which completely, really put destroyed the view that people had because you can't deny the results, right?
But what's funny is as much as it blew apart the racist ideas that the Japanese, for one, couldn't fight at night was a big thing because they all believe they were told that the Japanese had eyesight problems.